Breaking from Alabama, Roy Moore makes urgent announcement by Sassy Liberty for FreedomDaily.com. Former Republican candidate for U.S. Senate candidate and Alabama State Supreme Court Chief Justice Roy Moore is now pleading with his followers for assistance with legal expenses. In a Facebook post late Thursday night, he begged for contributions to his legal defense funds stemming from a lawsuit for defamation filed against him. Moore complained to his supporters in the lengthy Facebook post about the cost of his attorneys and described how his resources have been depleted and he struggled to make ends meet. Yet these reports of poverty do not jive with the financial report showing more than $1 million being paid out from a nonprofit. Add to that Moore's six-figure pension from the state of Alabama, and impoverished is not what comes to mind by any stretch. Yet Moore is now attempting to raise approximately $250,000 for his legal defense. He managed to raise about $32,000 just in a single day into the fundraising effort. Moore's campaign for U.S. Senate to take over the seat vacated by Jeff Sessions when he became the Attorney General for the Trump administration was highly contentious, with years-old allegations of sexual impropriety surfacing after Moore spent more than 40 years in the public eye. These allegations are believed to have attributed to the win of current Senator Doug Moore in a historically rare yet narrow victory. Moore writes in part, "First, I wanted to write you to say thank you most sincerely for your support and prayers for my campaign for the U.S. Senate. Your financial contributions helped me fight over $50 million from Washington insiders who did not want me to bring the truth about God and our Constitution to Washington, D.C. I have no regrets. We fought the good fight, we finished our course, and we have kept the faith. And we do not intend to quit. The future of our children and grandchildren is at stake. I now face another vicious attack from lawyers in Washington, D.C. and San Francisco who have hired one of the biggest firms in Birmingham, Alabama to bring another legal action against me and ensure that I never fight again. However, I will trust God that He will allow truth to prevail against the unholy forces of evil behind their attack. I have lawyers who want to help, but they are not without cost, and besides, their fees, legal expenses could run over $100,000. I have had to establish a legal fund. Anything you give will be appreciated." Okay. The lawsuit was filed against Moore after he denied knowing a woman who claims to have been molested while intoxicated by Moore some 40 years ago while Moore was still a prosecutor and she was just 14 years old. The case was filed by a woman named Lee Korfman, and she accused Moore of the following acts when Korfman visited his home in 1979. On the second visit to the house, Mr. Moore sexually abused Miss Korfman. He provided Miss Korfman with alcohol, flattered her, laid blankets and pillows on the floor, and took off her and his outer clothing, wearing only undershorts. Mr. Moore, whatever. Meanwhile, Moore maintains his innocence, stating that Korfman's accounts of the event that transpired nearly 40 years ago are completely false, malicious, politically motivated, that it reflects the immorality of our time, and that there is not 1 ounce of truth in her accusations, the Associated Press reported. Her lawsuit highlights his denials and accusations that the women were paid or had political motivations. The lawsuit filed January 4th, 2018, reads in part, All these statements by Mr. Moore are defamatory. Mr. Moore sexually abused Miss Korfman in 1979, mind you, when she was 14 years old. And he was in his early 30s, and Mr. Moore's denials of these facts are false, and his characterization of Miss Korfman and her motivations are untrue. Moore goes on his social media post to address his need for public support in his continued efforts to defend himself from what he terms the unholy forces of evil being funneled by lawyers in Washington, D.C. and San Francisco through one of the biggest law firms in Birmingham, Alabama. The assumption being that this law firm is one that represents Korfman in her suit against Moore. Many have questioned the timing of the accusations against Moore, as he spent many years in the public eye without any sort of accusations of sexual impropriety being levied against him. Yet just 30 days before a highly contested election, where Moore showed a two-digit lead, women began coming out of the woodwork to accuse Moore of improper sexual advances and downright assault, some 40 years after the alleged acts had taken place, causing Moore's double-digit lead to diminish and eventually costing him the election altogether. In his social media post, Moore lists a laundry list of those to blame for destroying America, as well as his current legal problems. Detailed among those Moore blames for being unholy forces of evil in a concerted effort to prevent him from bringing the truth about God and our Constitution to Washington, D.C. are lawyers in Washington, D.C., the Washington establishment, the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, lawyers in San Francisco, a law firm in Birmingham, Alabama, the liberal media, the ultra-liberal media, the political left, gays, lesbians, transgenders, those who believe in abortion, sodomy, the destruction of all that we hold dear, men who become lovers of their own selves, the covetous, boasters, the proud, blasphemers, those who are disobedient to parents, the unthankful, the unholy, those without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, the incontinent, the fierce, the despisers of those that are good, traitors, the heady, the high-minded, lovers of pleasure, George Soros, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, many others who fear the truth. Moore promises his supporters that he will not back down, going on to state the liberal media, in association with some who want to destroy our country, do not want my influence in the 2018 elections and are doing everything they can to stop me. Gays, lesbian, whatever, we go on. Abortion, those who believe in abortion and the destruction of all that we hold dear. Unless we stand together, we will lose our country. My resources have been depleted and I have struggled to make ends meet, but I have not lost my faith in our God, who is our true source of strength and will never leave or forsake us. Responses to Moore's post ran the gamut, ranging anywhere from extreme love and praise for the former senatorial candidate to complete abject hatred. Moore ends the Facebook plea for the cash with this: P.S. The political left is filled with men and women whose sole aim in life is to overthrow our God-ordained rights, which are guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. It is your responsibility and mine to stand up to the vile encroachment on our rights and defend that for which the Founding Fathers sacrificed so greatly. Please send a generous gift today to Roy Moore Legal Defense Fund to help me defeat once and for all those who would destroy America in order to usher in their Antichrist kingdom. May the Lord richly bless you as you stand with me in this critical fight. Well, I don't know what to say about this, you know. There's a lot of money behind getting him out of to stay out of any kind of office, you know. It's a shame. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.